Hope is not blind optimism. It's not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead or the roadblocks that stand in our path. It's the belief that we can overcome them. My fellow Americans, let me be clear. This moment we're living through is not ordinary. We are not gathered here today because the work is done. We are gathered because the work remains. Justice, in the context of American democracy, has never been something handed down without effort. It has always been a hard-earned achievement, born out of struggle, sacrifice, and the determination of ordinary people who dared to believe in something bigger than themselves. From the very beginning, whether it was abolitionists standing against slavery, suffragettes demanding the right to vote, or civil rights activists marching through Selma, history shows us that justice has always been the result of relentless effort, not passive expectation. In the speech, the reminder is clear. Justice doesn't arrive just because time passes or because people hope for it. It arrives because individuals decide to act. The rule of law, fairness, equality, these values must be defended and expanded through conscious participation in democracy. When people vote, organize, protest peacefully, educate others, or hold those in power accountable, they're doing the work of justice. It's not a job reserved for politicians or judges. It belongs to every citizen. Barack Obama's message points out that liberty and fairness are not self-sustaining forces. Without engagement and vigilance, they can erode. This point also confronts the misconception that progress is inevitable. Just because things have improved doesn't mean they'll continue to. Complacency is a danger. If people believe the fight is over simply because some ground has been gained, they risk losing that very ground. Justice is a living, breathing ideal, and it needs to be nourished constantly by courage, by action, and by the moral conviction that doing what's right matters, even when it's hard. When Obama speaks of the struggle for justice, he's calling on everyone to recognize their role in it. It's a shared responsibility. It's a collective effort, and it never truly ends because as society evolves, new challenges emerge, new voices rise, and new injustices come to light. The beauty of democracy lies in its ability to correct itself, but that correction doesn't happen on its own. It happens because people care enough to speak up, to fight, and to believe that a better, more just future is possible. That belief, that effort, is what keeps the idea of justice alive. And as Obama insists, it's up to us, not someday but now, to carry that fight forward. The idea that progress has been made but the work continues is a powerful truth at the heart of Barack Obama's message. Over the years, America has seen real and meaningful advancements in the fight for equality and justice. From the Civil Rights Act to the election of diverse leaders across the country, these milestones are the result of generations of courage, activism, and unwavering belief in the nation's core values. But progress, while important, is not the finish line. It's a step forward, a moment of movement in a much longer and ongoing journey. Obama reminds us that while we should honor and celebrate these gains, we must never confuse them with completion. The challenges we face today, racial inequality, economic disparity, voter suppression, and the erosion of civil discourse are reminders that the forces of injustice have not disappeared. They've adapted, evolved, and often become more subtle. If we let ourselves believe that the battle is over simply because we've made some strides, we risk allowing those very gains to be undone. Progress does not mean perfection. It doesn't mean that all is well. The election of a black president, the legalization of same-sex marriage, or the growing visibility of marginalized communities does not mean systemic issues have been resolved. These are signs of what is possible, but not proof that justice has fully arrived. Obama emphasizes that history is not a straight line moving inevitably toward fairness. It's a struggle with setbacks and advances, triumphs and disappointments. The moment we think the fight is behind us is the moment we become vulnerable to losing what's been achieved. This perspective challenges citizens not to grow complacent. There's a tendency in society to become satisfied with incremental victories and to stop pushing for deeper, more lasting change. Obama's words are a call to remain vigilant, to keep showing up, and to remember that every generation has a role in shaping the future. We must resist the temptation to rest simply because progress has been made. Instead, we must see each victory as a foundation for the next step, the next movement, the next wave of change. The work continues because justice is not static, it's dynamic. It requires us to keep moving, to stay engaged, and to never settle for good enough when we know better is possible. In his speech, Barack Obama emphasizes that the urgency of this moment cannot be overstated. The challenges facing justice and democracy today are not distant or theoretical. They are immediate, tangible, and deeply affecting people's lives. From rising inequality and discrimination to the erosion of civil rights and growing polarization, the landscape of modern society is filled with warning signs. These are not problems that will resolve themselves with time. They require intentional, collective action, and they demand it now. When people see marginalized communities still struggling for equal treatment, when laws are passed that restrict access to voting or target specific groups, and when public discourse is dominated by anger, misinformation, and division, it becomes clear that the ideals of justice and equality are under pressure. Obama is sounding an alarm, not to provoke fear, but to awaken responsibility. He wants the public to understand that democracy, fairness, and human dignity are not self-perpetuating forces. They must be actively defended, especially in times when they are most at risk. This moment also carries urgency because the consequences of inaction are growing. If the current trajectory continues unchecked, more people will be pushed to the margins. The systems that are supposed to protect the vulnerable will fail them, and the very institutions designed to uphold justice may become instruments of inequality. Obama's call is not simply to act for the sake of principle, it's to act because the cost of silence is too high. Lives are affected, communities are shaken, the future is shaped by what is, or isn't, done today. There is also a deep moral dimension to this urgency. Obama is challenging individuals to rise above apathy and recognize the power of their choices. In moments of crisis, people often wonder if their voice or actions truly matter. His message is that they do, perhaps now more than ever. The fight for justice is not reserved for major historical moments. It exists in daily decisions, in speaking up, in organizing, in showing up even when the odds feel overwhelming. The urgency of the moment is a test. It asks whether we will protect what has been gained and push further, or whether we will allow complacency, fear, and division to take control. The choice is ours, but it must be made quickly and clearly, because justice delayed is often justice denied. Barack Obama's message about hope being found in the people is both powerful and deeply rooted in his belief in grassroots change. Throughout his career, he has consistently emphasized that real progress doesn't come solely from institutions, governments, or high offices. It comes from individuals who show up, speak out, and commit themselves to building a better future. In this speech, he reaffirms that the strength of a nation lies not in its buildings or its wealth, but in its people, particularly those who are willing to do the hard work of justice even when no one is watching. Obama speaks directly to the quiet heroes, teachers in underfunded schools, young activists rallying for climate justice or racial equality, healthcare workers caring for patients in underserved areas, and everyday citizens who take the time to vote, volunteer, or raise awareness about pressing issues. These people may not always make headlines, but they are the beating heart of democracy. Their resilience, compassion, and belief in something greater than themselves is what gives him hope. What makes this hope so important is that it's not naive or disconnected from reality. It acknowledges the setbacks, the resistance, and the frustration that comes with pushing for change. But it also recognizes that in every generation, there are those who refuse to give up. They adapt. They innovate, they bring others along with them. Obama sees that energy not as a fleeting moment, but as a continuous force that keeps America moving forward even in difficult times. His speech underscores the idea that hope is an action, not just a feeling. It's found in organizing a local food drive, starting a community dialogue, or mentoring a young person who's been overlooked. It's in the refusal to accept injustice as normal and in the determination to make space for new voices at the table. Hope, in this sense, becomes a fuel, a driving force that empowers people to challenge what is and build what could be. Obama's belief in the people is not just inspirational, it's a call to action. It's a reminder that waiting for someone else to lead is no longer an option. The tools for change are already in our hands, and it's the courage, creativity, and commitment of everyday individuals that will define what justice looks like in the years to come. In his speech, Barack Obama strongly reinforces the belief that unity is essential in the pursuit of justice. He stresses that real and lasting change has never been achieved by a single group acting alone. It has always required people from all walks of life, across all backgrounds, to come together under a shared vision of fairness, dignity, and equal opportunity. Unity does not mean uniformity. It means recognizing our differences while finding common ground in our shared humanity and moral responsibility. Obama's words highlight that the strength of a democratic society lies in its ability to unite people of diverse races, religions, identities, and beliefs around a collective cause. Whether black or white, Latino or Asian, Native American, gay or straight, rural or urban, he urges that all voices matter and all are needed. In moments of deep national division, it becomes even more critical to reject the forces that seek to pit us against each other. He warns against the growing trend of tribalism and identity politics that fuels fear, resentment, and distrust, and instead calls for an inclusive movement driven by empathy and mutual respect. He reminds listeners that many of the greatest accomplishments in American history, the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, LGBTQ+ rights, were successful because people united across differences to demand change. That spirit of solidarity, that ability to look beyond oneself and recognize the struggles of others as part of a shared struggle, is what has always pushed the country toward progress. When people work side by side, they're not just fighting for one group's rights, they're affirming the dignity of all people. The power of unity is not just political, it's deeply human. It's in choosing understanding over judgment, cooperation over conflict, and healing over blame. Obama encourages everyone to resist the temptation of cynicism and instead reach out to those who may not look or think exactly like them. That act alone becomes a revolutionary step toward justice. Ultimately, Obama's vision is of a country where justice thrives not because everyone agrees on every issue, but because they agree on one unshakable truth, that every person deserves to be treated with fairness and respect. That kind of unity isn't weakness, it's the foundation of real power. It's how lasting justice is built. Barack Obama's speech delivers a clear and urgent reminder that the fight for justice is not a choice or a symbolic gesture. It is a moral duty. He emphasizes that the very foundation of democracy depends on ordinary people choosing to engage, speak out, and take responsibility for the direction their country is heading. Justice is not a passive ideal. It is something that must be actively pursued, protected, and advanced by each generation. When citizens turn away from that responsibility, the consequences are profound. Injustice takes root not just through the actions of the powerful, but also through the silence and inaction of the many. Obama stresses that civic engagement, voting, organizing, protesting, holding leaders accountable, isn't reserved for politicians or activists. It belongs to every citizen who believes in the promise of equality and fairness. He challenges the idea that change is someone else's job or that one voice doesn't matter. History proves the opposite. Every major movement that shaped American society began with individuals who decided they couldn't remain silent in the face of injustice. They may not have known exactly how things would change, but they believed that doing nothing was no longer an option. There's also a deep emotional and moral current in his words. The fight for justice is not only about policy or systems, it's about what kind of society we choose to be. Are we a nation that stands by when others suffer, or are we a people who step forward, even when the issues don't directly affect us? Obama's vision asks people to care beyond themselves, to extend empathy and action toward those who are marginalized, oppressed, or ignored. That is what it means to uphold justice, not only to benefit from it, but to ensure it for others. He also warns that the stakes are high. The future of democracy, of civil rights, and of the American identity is shaped by what people do now. This is a pivotal moment, and history will remember those who chose to act just as much as those who chose to look away. Obama ends with a powerful call to keep marching, keep speaking, and keep believing, not because the fight is easy, but because it is necessary. In doing so, he reminds us that justice is not only a legal matter, it's a reflection of our collective conscience and the moral soul of a nation. So let's keep marching, let's keep speaking out, let's keep believing. Because the fight for justice isn't over, and together, we will carry it forward. Thank you, God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.